Good morning.
In unison, good morning.
Good morning.
You may proceed.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I just have a few questions left. Okay. You've indicated to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury that an individual by the name of Aldo was present during some of the events that you've described. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Were there times when you were at the ranch and Aldo was not there?
Yes.
Were there times when you were at the ranch when Mr. Jackson and Aldo was not there?
Yes.
With regard to your sister. Okay. Davellin.
Okay.
Did Mr. Jackson ever make any statements about Davellin to you?
He told us not to tell her anything because he's afraid we might tell our mom.
About what?
About what we're doing.
What do you mean? What were you doing at the time that Mr. Jackson was making those statements to you?
Drinking.
Now, I want to just show you two last photographs. Mr. Mesereau. Just take a look at those for a second, and I'm going to ask you some questions. The first number on that is people's number 80 for identification, is that correct?
Yes.
And with regard to the photograph, people's 80 for identification, do you recognize that?
Yes.
And is that an accurate depiction of what it purports to represent?
Yes.
And with regard to people's 81 for identification?
82.
It's 82.
Yeah.
Okay. With regard to that, is that an accurate depiction of what it purports to represent?
Yes.
Your Honor, I move that 80 and 82 be admitted into evidence.
They're admitted.
All right. Now, would you put 80 on the top, star? Do you have 80 on top?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Your Honor, with the court's permission, could we activate the overhead? All right. Now, with regard to number 80, would you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what that is?
That's the view of the bed from the stairway.
Now, with regard to this particular photograph, people's 80, is there anything different about the photograph than the night that you went up there and saw your brother on the bed with Mr. Jackson with the events that you've described to the jury yesterday, late yesterday?
No.
Now, with regard to the next photograph, people's 82, is that people's 82?
Yes.
All right. With regard to that view, what is that?
That's the view of the bed from the stairway.
Now, with regard to that particular photograph, were the lighting conditions the same or different than depicted in this photograph?
Different.
And how were they different?
The lights above the bed were off.
And what was the light, the source of the light when you made your observations on the two occasions?
The lighting was from the stairs.
Now, you see the comforter, or the cover of the bed there.
Yes.
Can you tell us whether or not that was the same comforter or bed covering that was on the bed at the time that you were visiting the ranch back in February and March of 2003?
It was.
And on the night that you said that you saw your brother on the bed on the first occasion with Mr. Jackson, was that comforter on the bed on that occasion?
No, it was rolled down.
Rolled down where?
On the floor.
And so what was the surface of the bed at that point?
Another blanket.
Do you recall what color that blanket was?
No, it was like red. It was different colors.
All right. Now, with regard to the second time that you saw your brother on the bed with Mr. Jackson that you described to the jury yesterday, where? What was the condition of that comforter at that time, the blue comforter?
Rolled up and on the floor.
So it was the same both times?
Yes.
Okay. You can put that down, if you like. Do you remember whether or not on the night that you saw Mr. Jackson, on the first occasion when you saw Mr. Jackson on the bed with your brother, whether or not the screen, the movie screen, was up or down?
It was down.
So it was in the same condition that it is now?
Yes.
And how about on the second occasion?
It was up.
Now, at any time while you were at the ranch from the time you got back from Miami till the time that you left for the last time, did Mr. Jackson ever make any statements to you about your sister, about not telling things?
Objection. Leading.
Sustained.
What did he say? I didn't hear what he said. I'm sorry. I didn't hear the court's ruling.
Sustained.
At any time while you were at the ranch during the period of time from Miami till the time that you left, did you have any other conversations with Mr. Jackson that you haven't told us about? Just, yes, or, no.
Yes, yes.
Okay. And with regard to those conversations, what topics have you not told us about so far in your testimony that you had a discussion with Mr. Jackson about?
There was one time Michael told me, well, it was me, my brother and Aldo were on the bed, and he was telling us not to tell anything that happened, not even if they put a gun to your head.
Did he say why?
No.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Cross-examine.
Yes, please, Your Honor. Good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. Arvizo, we've never spoken before, right?
No.
We've never met each other before, right?
Yes.
When you say, yes, we actually haven't met, right?
What?
You've never met me before, right?
Yes.
When you say, yes, do you mean we've met or we haven't met?
We haven't met.
Okay. My name is Thomas Mesereau. Okay.
Okay.
And I speak for Mr. Jackson. All right.
Okay.
I'm on his side. You know that.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions. Okay.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask you some questions about some things you said in the courtroom. All right.
Okay.
If anything I say is not clear to you, don't answer it. Okay.
Okay.
Just tell me, I don't understand.
Okay.
Is that all right?
Yes.
If I say something that seems confusing, for whatever reason, just tell me, I'm confused. Could you repeat the question? Is that okay?
Okay.
We don't want you to answer anything if you don't really understand what I'm asking you. Is that understood?
Okay.
Okay. Now, you've testified before today, right?
Yes.
How many times have you testified under oath before today?
3 times.
3 times. And could you please tell the jury the 3 times that you testified under oath before? I said, today. I meant yesterday. Okay. Please tell the jury the other 3 times that you testified under oath.
2 times at the grand jury, and 1 time yesterday.
Are they the only times you've testified under oath before?
I think so.
Do you know for sure?
Not really.
Well, you did testify under oath in a deposition in the J.C. Penney case, right?
Yes.
And how old were you when you testified in that case under oath?
I don't remember, but I was really young.
Were you about 10?
No.
Were you 9?
I think I was 8.
You were 8. Okay. Was that the first time you ever testified under oath?
Yes.
Okay. And you testified under oath in support of what your mother was claiming happened to her, right?
What happened to us?
What happened to us? You, Gavin and your mother, right?
Yes.
Okay. Let me ask you some questions about the alarm system at Neverland.
Okay.
You were interviewed by the police on numerous occasions about what happened at Neverland, right?
Yes.
Do you know about how many times you've been interviewed by the police about what happened at Neverland?
Twice.
And do you remember giving them descriptions about the alarm system?
Yes.
You have given the police different descriptions of the alarm system from time to time, right?
Yes.
And let me ask you a couple of questions about the alarm. Is there an alarm that goes off when someone enters Michael Jackson's bedroom?
Through the hallway or through his bedroom?
Let's start with the hallway.
Yes.
Is there an alarm that goes off when you enter Michael Jackson's hallway?
Yes.
How do you know that there's an alarm that goes off when you enter Michael Jackson's hallway?
Because while you're walking through the hallway, you can hear it.
And have you heard it before?
Yes.
When did you hear the alarm that goes off when you enter Michael Jackson's hallway?
Every time you walk through it.
How many times do you think you've heard that alarm go off?
A lot of times.
And it's pretty loud, isn't it?
Not really.
Well, do you know why the alarm is there?
No.
Did you ever ask Mr. Jackson, why is the alarm there?
No.
You have set the alarm off yourself, haven't you?
Yes.
How many times have you set the alarm off yourself when walking through Michael Jackson's hallway?
It's not an alarm. It's just a bell.
Your Honor, I'm sorry. It's hard to hear the witness here. You say it's not an alarm, it's just a bell.
Yes.
Is it an electric bell?
Yes.
How do you know it's electric?
Because it doesn't sound real.
It doesn't sound real.
Yeah.
It sounds like a loud bell, doesn't it?
It sounds electric.
Have you ever tried to turn that alarm system off?
I don't know how to.
Did you ever ask anyone, how do you turn that alarm system off?
No.
Okay, so, as far as you know, every time you've walked through that hallway, that bell has gone off, right?
Yes.
And your understanding is that the purpose of that bell is to let Michael Jackson know if somebody goes through his hallway, right?
Yes.
That's the purpose of the alarm, right?
Yes.
Did you ever have any discussion with any security guard at Neverland about that alarm system?
No.
Did you ever ask anyone, how does it work?
No.
You said you got a code from security guards at Neverland, correct?
Yes.
And what code did you get from security guards at Neverland?
The master code.
And do you know what security guard gave that to you?
No, I don't remember.
And what is the master code?
1849.
And what does it do?
It gets you into all the doors in Neverland.
Is that every door at Neverland?
Yes.
Is that every door in every room?
Yes.
And would that master code get you into Michael's children's bedroom?
Yes.
You've been in that bedroom, correct?
Yes.
You've been in both of them, right?
Yes.
You've been in both of his children's bedrooms many times, right?
Yes.
And you've been in other rooms in the main house, correct?
Yes.
You've been into what other rooms in the main house?
His room, Michael's room. Prince and Paris's room. I think those are the doors. Oh, and then the 2 doors to enter the main house.
Have you been into any other rooms in the main house?
The kitchen room, the living room, the kitchen. Those are the only rooms I've been in.
When did you get the code that lets you into every room in the house?
A little after the Miami trip.
You had been into every room in the house before you went to Miami, hadn't you?
No.
You had not been into every room in the house before you went to Miami.
Not every room.
Didn't you go into the main house when Chris Tucker was there and Michael Jackson was absent?
Yes.
And you went upstairs when Chris Tucker was there and Michael Jackson was absent, didn't you?
No.
Your Honor, I think we're having trouble hearing the witness. If he could just talk a little louder.
Everyone seems to be hearing.
Sometimes you can't.
The audience is all nodding affirmatively.
In unison, we're not.
Thank you. We can't hear. We can't hear.
I didn't want to instruct the witness. I didn't think it was appropriate. If the court would, I'd appreciate it, Your Honor.
You need to speak up. People right there can't hear you.
Okay.
Because some people didn't hear, I'm going to go over a little bit of this again. How many times were you at Neverland before the Miami trip?
I don't know exactly.
Approximately.
I don't know exactly.
I'm just asking if you can estimate.
10.
10. And of those 10 trips, how many do you think Michael was present at? I'm talking about the trips before you went to Miami.
I don't know. I know it was more than twice.
Okay. When did you first learn there was an alarm system when you entered the hallway to go to Michael Jackson's bedroom?
First time we entered his bedroom.
And approximately when was that, if you know?
I don't know.
And did you see Michael Jackson do anything to the alarm system?
No.
When you first entered his bedroom?
No.
So it went off, didn't it?
What?
When you first entered Michael Jackson's bedroom, the alarm system in the hallway went off, right?
The bell.
The bell that is an alarm system, right?
I didn't think it was an alarm system.
You didn't think the bell that went off when you entered the hallway was an alarm system.
Well, because I'm thinking, like, an alarm, like.
But you knew it was an electric bell, correct?
Yes.
And you knew anytime you entered that hallway it went off, right?
Yes.
When you first went into the hallway, you heard that bell, didn't you?
Yes.
You never saw Michael Jackson dismantle that system, did you?
No.
In fact, every time you've walked into that hallway to go into Michael Jackson's bedroom, that bell has rung, right?
I'm going to object, asked and answered.
I didn't, excuse me, Your Honor, I don't think I've ever asked that question.
Overruled.
Repeat the question.
Sure, every time you.
I'll have the court reporter repeat it.
I'm sorry. Record read.
Yes.
Now, during the 2 times you claim you saw Michael Jackson touch your brother in bed, that bell went off, didn't it?
Yes.
When you walk into the hallway, Mr. Arvizo, is there another alarm system?
Which hallway?
The hallway going into Mr. Jackson's bedroom. Once you go through the hallway, the bell goes off, right?
Yes.
And when you try to go into Michael Jackson's bedroom upstairs, is there any other alarm?
No.
Have you ever had heard of there being another alarm that goes off as you try to enter Michael Jackson's bedroom?
No.
Okay, you're aware that if you're in Michael Jackson's bedroom upstairs, you can hear that bell.
When the doors are open.
Pardon me.
When the doors are open.
Well, the purpose of it is to let Michael Jackson know, if he's upstairs, if any bodies come into the hallway, isn't it?
I'm going to object to that. Calls for speculation on the part of this witness.
Sustained.
Mr. Arvizo, did Mr. Jackson ever tell you that the reason that alarm system goes off is to let him know if anyone is trying to enter his bedroom?
No.
So you were not aware of that?
No.
Okay, you have heard that alarm system go off when you were upstairs, haven't you?
When the doors open.
Yes. You're saying when the doors closed, Michael Jackson can't hear the alarm system.
No.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Did you discuss yesterday's testimony with anyone last night?
No.
Talk to your mom about it.
No.
Talk to your dad about it.
No.
Talk to your sister about it.
No.
Talk to Gavin about it.
No.
Talk to the DA about it.
No.
Did you know what questions Mr. Sneddon was going to ask you when you came in this morning?
1 or 2 of them.
Okay, how did you know about 1 or 2 of them?
He called me this morning to clarify something.
He called you at home.
Yeah, yes.
So you did discuss yesterday's testimony with someone, didn't you?
No, today.
You did discuss what you said yesterday with Mr. Sneddon before you took the stand this morning, right?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to that question. Assumes a fact not in evidence, that it was yesterday's materials we discussed.
Objection. Your Honor. Mr. Sneddon's testifying. Move to strike his comments.
Sustained. Stricken. Mr. Sneddon, you have been using speaking responses, which I do not allow.
All right, Your Honor. Then I object. Assumes facts not in evidence.
I've heard your objection. The objection is overruled. Would the court reporter read back the question to the witness, please? Record read.
No.
Did you speak to Mr. Sneddon between your testimony yesterday and your testifying today?
Yes. In the morning.
And about what time was that?
7 o'clock.
Did Mr. Sneddon talk to you about what he was going to ask you today?
He was asking me. He was trying to clarify about some things.
Well, he told you that he was going to ask you about Aldo, correct?
No.
He never told you he was going to ask you anything about Aldo today.
He didn't say. He just said, he asked me if Aldo was there the whole time.
And did he tell you he was going to ask you a question about that this morning?
No.
Did he tell you he was going to ask you about any photographs this morning?
No.
Have you ever seen the photographs you just identified before?
Yes.
When did you see them before?
On Sunday.
On Sunday.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Sneddon showed you a bunch of photographs and kept asking you a question. Is that an accurate depiction? Remember those questions?
Yes.
Had he asked you those questions before?
No.
Had he showed you photographs before and said to you, when you come into court, I'm going to ask you if that's an accurate depiction, remember?
No.
Do you remember those questions he asked you?
No.
Do you remember, Mr. Sneddon showed you photographs in the courtroom and said, is this an accurate depiction of what's in the photograph?
Yes.
Had he told you before you testified yesterday that he was going to ask you that question?
No.
Is that the first time you ever heard him ask you that question?
Yes.
You went through photograph after photograph, and when he said to you, is that an accurate depiction? You always said, yes, right.
Yes.
Was that the first time he'd ever asked you that question in the courtroom?
Yes.
Now, you made a lot of statements that this was an accurate depiction, and then afterwards told the jury that there were things in the photographs that you didn't think were accurate, right?
Yes.
And that was because you have a detailed memory of what went on when you used to go to Neverland, right?
Yes.
You had never gone over that with Mr. Sneddon or any other member of the prosecution before, right?
About what?
About those photos.
No.
Okay. Before you testified yesterday, had you ever discussed what you were going to say with your mom?
No.
Before you testified yesterday, had you ever discussed with Gavin what you were going to say?
No.
Before you testified yesterday, had you ever discussed with your sister Davellin what you were going to say?
No.
Have you ever discussed this case with your mom?
No.
Ever discussed this case with Gavin?
No.
Have you ever discussed this case with Davellin?
No.
Have you ever discussed this case with an attorney?
Yes.
Who?
Tom, Gordon and Ron.
Excuse me.
Tom, Gordon and Ron.
I'm sorry. We're having trouble hearing the name.
Tom, Gordon and Ron.
Tom, Gordon and Ron. Have you ever discussed this case with Larry Feldman?
No, I don't remember.
Do you know who Larry Feldman is?
I think so.
Who do you think he is?
I don't know what he does.
Okay, you never heard the name, Larry Feldman, before.
No.
Have you ever heard the name, William Dickerman, before?
Yes.
And have you met with attorney William Dickerman before?
Yes.
How many times do you think you've met with attorney William Dickerman?
Once.
And that was before you ever spoke to anyone with the sheriff's department, right?
I don't know.
Well, do you know whether or not William Dickerman sent your entire family to attorney Larry Feldman?
No, I don't know.
And you don't recall ever meeting with attorney Larry Feldman?
I do recall meeting with him, but I don't know who sent us to him.
And how many times have you met with attorney Larry Feldman?
Probably twice.
And do you know approximately when that was?
No.
Was it in the last year?
No.
Last 2 years?
I don't remember.
Okay. Was your mom at that meeting?
We never had a meeting. Well, I don't remember.
Okay. Now, you've given different descriptions at different times of what you say happened in Michael Jackson's bedroom, right?
I don't understand.
Well, you've been asked to describe many times what happened in Michael Jackson's bedroom at Neverland, right?
Yes.
You've been asked by the sheriffs a couple of times, right?
No.
Well, you've been interviewed by the Santa Barbara sheriffs about what you claim happened in Michael Jackson's bedroom, right?
Yes.
And they've asked you to describe what went on in Michael Jackson's bedroom, right?
Yes.
And you've also been before a grand jury to testify about what went on in Michael Jackson's bedroom, right?
Yes.
You've also met with a psychologist named Stanley Katz, right?
Yes.
And Stanley Katz works for Larry Feldman, right?
I didn't know that.
Well, you knew that Larry Feldman sent you to Stanley Katz, right?
I didn't know.
Never heard anything about that.
No.
Your mother never told you that.
No.
Well, when you met with psychologist Stanley Katz, you also described what you claim happened in Michael Jackson's bedroom, right?
Yes.
And would you agree that you've given different descriptions almost every time that you have described it?
I don't remember exactly what I said.
Well, You've given different descriptions about what Michael Jackson was wearing, right?
I don't remember exactly what I said.
You've given different descriptions of what Gavin was supposed to be wearing, right?
I don't remember exactly what I said.
You've given different descriptions about what you claim Michael Jackson did in the bedroom, right?
No.
Well, there were times you said that Michael Jackson put his hand on top of your brother's underwear, right?
I don't remember saying that.
And there are other times you said he put his hand inside his underwear, right?
Yes.
And there are times you've said your brother was wearing pajamas, right?
Yes.
There are times you said he was wearing underwear, right?
I don't remember.
And there are times you said that Michael Jackson touched his butt and not his crotch, right?
When was this?
When you did some interviews, right?
About what?
About what Michael Jackson, you claim, was doing in his bedroom, right?
I never said he touched his butt.
Did you ever tell anyone that when you saw Michael Jackson in bed with your brother, he was rubbing his butt?
No.
Never said that at any time to anybody?
No.
Never said it to Mr. Katz, right?
No.
Never said it to the sheriffs, right?
No.
And never said it to a grand jury, right?
No.
Okay, you indicated yesterday that Michael Jackson was trying to teach you and your brother cuss words, right?
Yes.
And was that the truth?
He wasn't trying to teach us. He was just telling us to cuss.
Did you ever use cuss words before you met Michael Jackson?
Not really.
Did you ever know what those cuss words even meant?
No.
Okay, when you were. Let me strike that. Let me rephrase. You had your deposition taken in the J.C. Penney case on December 15, the year 2000, right?
I don't remember the dates.
Would it refresh your memory if I just show you the deposition date?
Sure.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Arvizo, have you had a chance to look at that page?
Yes.
And it says, December 15, 2000, right?
Yes.
Okay, where were you living during December 15, 2000?
I was living at the Soto address.
Well, in that deposition, you said you were living on Raymer Street. Do you remember?
Yes. No, I don't remember the deposition.
Would it refresh your recollection if I just show you that part of your deposition?
Sure.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Okay.
Have you had a chance to look at that page of your deposition of the J.C. Penney case?
Yes.
And does it refresh your recollection that you said you were living on Raymer Street at that point?
Yes.
Now, where is Raymer Street?
It's in El Monte.
Okay, is that where your grandparents live?
Yes.
Okay, and when you answered these questions in the J.C. Penney case under oath, you were 10 years old, right?
I think so.
Okay, in that deposition, you were asked whether you had discussed the facts of the J.C. Penney case with anyone before you were deposed, right?
Yes.
Do you remember that? And you said you had not discussed the facts.
Actually, I don't remember that question.
Would it refresh your recollection if I just show you that page?
It's okay.
Huh.
It's okay.
What do you mean, it's?
Oh, okay.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Where's the question?
Right here.
Okay.
Have you had a chance to look at that page in your deposition in the J.C. Penney case?
Yes.
Does it refresh your recollection that you said you had not discussed the facts of that case with your mother or anybody else?
Yes.
And was that true?
What?
Was it true that before you answered questions under oath in the J.C. Penney case that you had never discussed the facts of that case with anyone?
After the...
Between the time the events happened, or that you claim happened in the parking lot at J.C. Penney, and the time you answered questions under oath, you had not discussed the facts with anybody, right?
Yes.
Okay, you hadn't discussed the facts with your mother, right?
Yes.
Hadn't discussed them with Gavin, right?
Yes.
Hadn't discussed them with Davellin, right?
Yes.
And you hadn't discussed them with your father David, right?
Yes.
Now, You indicated to the jury that you've done some training as a comedian, is that right?
It wasn't really actual training. We just did it for fun.
Pardon me.
It wasn't actually training. We just did it for fun.
Okay, but did you take a class?
No.
Did you take an acting class?
No.
Have you ever modeled?
That was for our dance group that we used to be in.
Where did you model?
I don't remember.
Well, you claim you have modeled at J.C. Penney's, right?
I don't remember the store.
Would it refresh your recollection if I show you your deposition in the J.C. Penney case?
Sure.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Have you had a chance to look at that page?
Yes.
Does it refresh your recollection that you claim you were modeling at J.C. Penney?
Not really.
Were you modeling at J.C. Penney?
I think so.
Pardon me.
I think so.
You think so?
Yeah, since it says it on there.
Well, please tell the jury what the truth is. Were you really modeling at J.C. Penney?
I'm going to object to that question as argumentative.
Sustained. The jury is admonished to disregard Mr. Mesereau's remark.
Were you modeling at J.C. Penney on that day?
What day?
The day the events happened in the parking lot.
No, that was way before then.
But you testified under oath that you were there to model, didn't you?
No, I was there to model about years ago. We were just waiting for our mom to come out of her job interview.
Correct me if I'm wrong. When you were testifying under oath in a deposition, you said under oath that you were there to model that day, didn't you?
Not that day. We were there before to model. Not at that J.C. Penney's.
Did you model before?
Yes.
When was that?
It was a long time ago when we were little.
Now, you testified under oath that your brother Gavin took some clothes that weren't paid for into the parking lot, right?
I don't remember.
You don't remember saying that?
No, it was long ago.
Has anyone told you to give a response like that to my questions?
No.
Has anyone told you to say, I don't remember, when you respond to my questions?
If I don't remember, I don't remember.
Okay. Do you remember testifying that your brother went into the parking lot with clothes that weren't paid for to trick your father into buying them?
I don't remember.
Would it refresh your recollection if I show you your testimony?
Yes.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Have you had a chance to look at that page?
Yes.
Does it refresh your recollection about what you said under oath in the deposition?
A little bit.
Well, you said your brother wanted to trick your dad into buying clothes, right?
Yes.
And you said that that's why he went into the mall with the unpaid clothes, right?
He went into the mall.
Into the parking lot in the mall.
Oh.
Let me restate it. You testified under oath that your brother left J.C. Penney's with clothes that weren't paid for because he was trying to trick your dad into buying them, right?
Yes, but the paragraph wasn't over.
Okay, what else did you say about that?
Could I reread it?
Sure. May I return, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay.
Have you had a chance to look at the page again?
Yes.
And does it refresh your recollection about what you testified to that day?
A little bit.
Okay, how has it refreshed your recollection?
It said right there that my dad took them and put them back.
Okay, now, you said that Gavin wouldn't steal because he wants to be a priest, right?
I don't remember saying that.
You said he wants to be a priest and a comedian, right?
I don't remember saying that.
Well, did anyone ask you to say that, if you recall?
No.
Before you went into that deposition to testify under oath, did anyone tell you if you're asked if Gavin stole, say, no, he wants to be a comedian and a priest?
I don't remember nothing in that case.
Would it refresh your recollection if I just show you another page?
Yes.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Have you had a chance to look at that page?
Yes.
Does it refresh your recollection about what you said?
A little bit, yes.
And didn't you say that Gavin wants to be a priest and a comedian when he grows up?
Yes.
And you said that he wouldn't steal, right?
Yes.
Okay. But no one told you to say that before the deposition, right?
What was it? Say it again.
Yeah. Nobody told you to make that statement before you went into that deposition and testified, right?
Yes.
Now, you testified under oath that security guards from J.C. Penney approached your mother in the parking lot and said, "We're going to fuck you up," and called your dad a fucking asshole, right?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to the question as a violation of the court's ruling.
Sustained.
I don't remember the exact words.
Just a minute. You don't have to answer that question.
But you're telling the jury that before you met Michael Jackson, you had never used the F word, right?
I spelled it out for them.
Spelled it out for you.
The people that were interviewing us I didn't say it.
Okay. And in your personal life as a young boy, you had never used that word once, right?
No.
The first time you heard it was in the J.C. Penney parking lot, right?
Yes.
Now, you testified that your mother had been beaten up in the parking lot, right?
Yes.
You said that her private parts had been touched.
Your Honor, I'm going to object. Same objection.
Sustained.
When you went to Stanley Katz, you knew he was a psychologist, right?
No.
Did you know he was a therapist?
Not really.
Had you been to a therapist ever before?
Yes.
When was that?
During the J.C. Penney case.
Okay. Did you go with your mom?
I don't remember.
Okay. Well, your whole family went to a therapist in that case, right?
I don't remember.
Don't remember at all?
No.
Okay. May we approach, Your Honor?
No.
In the J.C. Penney case, you testified to what these guards were doing to your mother, right?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'm going to object. Same objection.
Sustained.
And that was the first time you ever testified, right?
When?
In the J.C. Penney deposition.
Yes.
And nobody told you what to say before it, right?
Yes.
Never discussed it with your mom before you went into the deposition, right?
Yes.
Just like you've never discussed the facts of this case with your mom at any time, right?
Yes.
Okay. When was the first time that you ever discussed what you claim Mr. Jackson had done to you?
What?
When is the first time you ever discussed with anybody what you say Mr. Jackson did to you?
I think it was with Dr. Katz.
Excuse me. If you can't hear him, I'd like to have hand signs. There's no way I can know. And that way I can just have him speak up. The people in the audience are hearing him fine. But when he drops off, I can't tell whether you're hearing him or not. Sorry, counsel. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. When is the first time you ever discussed what you claim Mr. Jackson did to you?
I think it was with Dr. Katz.
Was that before you ever discussed any of this with any police officer?
Yes.
And you discussed what you claim Mr. Jackson did to you with attorney Larry Feldman, right?
I don't remember.
Do you remember one way or the other?
I didn't understand that question.
Sure. Are you saying you don't remember ever discussing this case with attorney Larry Feldman?
No, I don't remember.
Okay. But you do remember meeting with Larry Feldman, right?
Yes.
And your mom was there, right?
Yes.
Gavin was there, right?
Yes.
Do you remember saying in the J.C. Penney deposition that your mom and dad never fight?
Your Honor, I'm going to object. Same objection.
Overruled.
Do you remember saying that?
Not really.
Would it refresh your recollection if I show you a page from that deposition?
Yes.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Oops.
That's okay.
Have you had a chance to look at that page from the deposition?
Yes.
Does it refresh your recollection about what you said?
A little bit.
And didn't you say under oath that your mother and dad never fight?
Yes.
Was that true?
I really don't, sometimes.
I'm sorry. I didn't understand your answer. When you told, excuse me. Let me rephrase. When you stated under oath in the J.C. Penney deposition in the year 2000 that your mom and dad never fight, were you telling the truth?
No.
Did someone tell you to lie in that deposition?
I don't remember.
You don't remember at all.
No, it happened a long time ago.
You also said in that deposition under oath that your dad never hit you. Do you remember that?
Not really.
Would it refresh your recollection if I show you that page?
Sure.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Okay.
Have you had a chance to look at that page of your deposition?
Yes.
And does it refresh your recollection about what you said that day?
Yes.
You were asked if your dad had ever hit you, and you said, never, right?
Yes.
Was that the truth?
No.
Did someone ever tell you to lie about that under oath in your deposition in the J.C. Penney case?
I really don't remember.
Don't remember at all.
No, I don't remember nothing from there.
Judge, they can't hear him. They can't hear him.
You can't hear in the back. The witness, is it? You need to lean into the microphone like that.
Okay.
Did your father ever coach you about what to say in the J.C. Penney deposition?
No.
Did your mother ever coach you about what to say in the J.C. Penney deposition?
No.
Please tell the jury why you lied under oath.
I don't remember. It was, 5 years ago. I don't remember nothing.
Have you discussed the J.C. Penney deposition with any of the prosecutors?
No.
Have you discussed the J.C. Penney deposition with your mom?
No.
Have you discussed the J.C. Penney deposition with your dad?
No.
Have you ever discussed the J.C. Penney deposition with Gavin?
No.
Have you ever discussed the J.C. Penney deposition with Davellin?
No.
Have you ever discussed the J.C. Penney deposition with any attorney?
No.
You had an attorney representing you at the J.C. Penney deposition, right?
Yes.
Who was that?
I don't remember.
Have you ever discussed this case with your grandmother?
No.
Have you ever discussed it with your grandfather?
No.
Have you ever discussed the J.C. Penney lawsuit with your grandmother?
No.
And have you ever discussed the J.C. Penney lawsuit with your grandfather?
No.
Okay. Was Michael Jackson the first person you ever heard use a cuss word?
No.
Who was, if you remember?
It was a kid at school.
That's the first time you ever heard those words.
I don't remember.
But you've never used them yourself, right?
Yes, I've used them.
Do you use them now?
No.
Never use them.
What do you mean?
Well, in your personal life right now, do you ever use the F word?
No.
Do you ever use the B word?
No.
You indicated yesterday that you visited Neverland with Chris Tucker when Michael Jackson wasn't there, right?
Yes.
Now, how did you end up going there with Chris Tucker?
I don't know. I think it was my brother that set it up. I don't remember.
Okay. Do you know kind of how you ended up going there with Chris?
No.
Okay. Who drove you to Neverland during those trips that you went with Chris Tucker?
During all the trips.
Yes.
A bus driver.
You went by bus to Neverland with Chris Tucker?
Yes.
Okay. Was it a private bus?
Yes.
Do you know how that was arranged?
No.
Okay. Who went on those bus rides?
Me and my brother, my sister, Chris's apprentice. I don't know. There was other people, too.
Okay. And did you know that Michael Jackson was not going to be there when you arrived?
I don't remember all the times.
Well, when you went with Chris Tucker, did you think Michael Jackson was going to be there?
Probably.
Excuse me.
Probably.
Okay. Do you know if Chris told you he would be there?
No.
Why did you think Michael would be there?
I don't know. I don't remember.
By the way, do you remember yesterday when you told the jury that on the plane you looked at a soda can that Michael Jackson had and you saw a red ring around it?
Yes.
You told that to the police in one of your interviews also, didn't you?
I think so.
You also told the police that you looked in the can and saw white wine, correct?
When?
When you told them there was a red ring around the can. You then told them you looked in the can and saw white wine, remember?
I don't remember saying that.
Would it refresh your recollection if I show you a transcript from a police interview?
Sure.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Excuse me, what page?
The lady might have misheard me.
Excuse me, what did you just say?
I never looked into the can.
You said a lady might have misheard you.
I don't know what
The court reporter.
Yes.
Oh, you think the court reporter made a mistake?
Yes.
Because, as you've seen, it says you told the police there was a red ring around the can and then you looked in and saw white wine, right? That's what it says, doesn't it?
Yes.
But what you're telling the jury is you think the court reporter made a mistake.
Yes.
Do you have a lot of experience with court reporters?
No.
Did you tell Michael Jackson you wanted to be an actor?
No.
Did you ever tell Michael Jackson you wanted to make videos?
No.
Did you ever make any videos with Michael Jackson?
Yes.
When did you do that?
A long time ago.
And just approximately when was that, if you know?
I don't know.
Was it when you first met Michael Jackson?
I don't know.
Did you ever make a video at Neverland yourself?
Yes.
And please tell the jury when that was.
I don't know when it was.
And describe what you did when you made that video.
I think I don't remember exactly. We were just talking about the animals and talking about the ranch.
And who is we?
Me and whoever happened to be there. Like the zoo lady or train driver.
And was that in the fall of 2002?
I don't remember.
Okay. Do you remember the approximate year when you first went to Neverland?
2000.
And how do you know it was 2000?
I don't know.
Did somebody tell you it was the year 2000?
No, I just remember my brother had cancer in the year 2000.
Okay. Now, how long after your brother contracted cancer did you and he visit Neverland, if you know?
I don't know.
Was it a number of months?
I don't know.
Do you know if your brother was undergoing medical treatment when he first went to Neverland?
Yes.
And if you remember, had the treatment just begun?
I don't remember.
What was your understanding about how your brother first communicated with Michael Jackson?
By telephone.
And did you hear about that right away, if you know?
What?
Did your brother tell you right away, I just spoke to Michael Jackson on the telephone?
Yes.
Did he call you up and tell you that?
I was laying right next to him.
Okay. This was in the hospital.
Yes.
Okay. And suddenly the phone rang and it was Michael Jackson.
I didn't know it was Michael Jackson.
Okay. How did you find out it was him?
After my brother hung up.
Now, in your police interviews, you keep referring to David as my biological father, right?
Yes.
You also refer to him as my biological dad, right?
Yes.
Who told you to use the word biological?
I learned it in one of my English classes.
Well, other members in your family have been referring to him as their biological dad, right?
Yeah, and also my sister uses it.
Did your mom ever tell you to refer to David as your biological dad?
No.
She never did once.
No.
Did you ever hear your mother telling your sister to refer to David as your biological dad?
No.
Ever hear your mom tell Davellin to refer to her father as her biological dad?
No.
Okay, that was something you came up with, right?
Yes. This was after we met Jay, so we didn't think of my dad as a dad anymore. So that's why we called him a biological dad, because we were calling Jay, Dad.
Now, you've been into Prince and Paris's bedroom, right?
Yes.
And just please tell the jury who Prince and Paris are.
They're Michael's children.
When you first went to Neverland, did you meet Michael's children?
I think so.
Do you remember who introduced you to Michael's children?
I don't remember.
Did you see them on the first visit to Neverland?
I think so.
Pardon me.
I think so.
Okay, and where did you first meet Prince and Paris?
At Neverland.
Do you know what ages they were when you first met them?
I think they were 3 and 4.
And could you describe them to the jury?
They're small. One has blonde hair. The other one has long brown curly hair. What else? That's all.
And you told the jury that Prince and Paris were in Miami when you made a trip to Miami, right?
Yes.
And you told the jury that Prince and Paris were in Michael's suite, right?
Yes.
And when you first went into Michael's suite, Prince and Paris were there, right?
What part of the suite?
Any part.
Yes.
Okay. And when you went back on the plane from Miami to Santa Barbara, Prince and Paris were on the plane, right?
Yes.
And 2 nannies were with them, right?
One nanny was with 2 kids, and the other nanny was with the baby.
Okay. And tell the jury who the baby was.
Michael's son.
Okay. Would you please describe the baby to the jury?
Small.
Okay. And who was the nanny with Michael's baby?
Her name was Patty.
And who was the nanny with Prince and Paris?
Grace.
And they're all on the plane with you when you go back from Miami, right?
Yes.
And a physician was on the plane as well, right?
I didn't know what his profession was.
Okay. Did you know he was a doctor?
From his name, yes.
Okay. You heard people call him doctor, right?
Yes.
And was it your understanding his name was Farshian?
Yes.
Okay. So Dr. Farshian's on the plane as well, right?
Yes.
Did you ever ask anyone whose doctor he was?
All I knew is that he was Michael's doctor.
Okay. Now, yesterday you told Prosecutor Sneddon where everybody was sitting, right?
Yes.
And?
Yes.
You looked at this diagram, and you said, that's a diagram of the inside of that plane, right?
Yes.
How did you know that was a diagram about the inside of that plane?
Because that's how it looked inside.
Did you ever go over that diagram with any prosecutor before you testified?
I think so, yes.
You think so?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, you did do it, right?
Yes.
And what prosecutor did you go over that diagram with before you testified?
Let me remember. It was Tom.
Is that Tom Sneddon?
Yes.
And when did you do that with him?
On Sunday.
Did he visit you on Sunday?
No, I visited him.
Okay, at his office.
Yes.
Okay, and did someone bring you to his office?
Yes.
Do you know who that was?
It was Steve Roble.
Okay, that's a Santa Barbara sheriff, right?
Yes.
And had you seen that diagram before Sunday?
No.
Did Mr. Sneddon tell you, this is a diagram of the inside of the plane?
No, I knew it was a diagram. I was the one that drew it up for Tom.
So you drew the whole diagram up for Prosecutor Sneddon?
No, I just drew a picture and I gave it to Tom.
Okay, do you know where that picture is?
No.
Did you just gave it to Sneddon?
Yes. Well, it was in the beginning of this case.
I'm sorry, pardon.
It was in the beginning of the case.
Okay, so the beginning of this case, you did a diagram of the interior of that plane.
I just did a drawing.
Okay, a drawing of the plane that you flew on from Miami, right?
Yes.
And when you say, at the beginning of this case, what do you mean?
It was before the grand jury.
And do you know whatever happened to the drawing?
No.
Did you remember where all the seats were?
Yes.
Inside that plane?
Yes.
Okay, and that's what you drew in the drawing, right?
Yes.
And did Mr. Sneddon tell you that the diagram you had was based upon your drawing?
No.
Okay, he just came up with this and showed it to you on Sunday, right?
Yes.
And did he ask you to put little initials where everybody was sitting?
No, we did that yesterday.
That was the first time you'd ever done that?
Yes.
First time you'd ever looked at that drawing and put initials where everybody was sitting?
Yes.
When you were with Mr. Sneddon on Sunday, did you point out to him where people were sitting?
He told me not to.
He told you not to tell him where people were sitting.
Yes.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. If he showed you this diagram of the plane, do you know why he would tell you, don't tell me where people are sitting?
I was actually, well, I wanted to see it.
You wanted to see what?
I wanted to see the diagram.
Okay, did you ask him in advance that you wanted to see the diagram?
No.
Okay, you're sitting with Mr. Sneddon in a Sunday meeting, right?
Yes.
And what time was that?
I don't remember. It was afternoon.
Afternoon. Okay. Do you know about how long the meeting went?
No.
Were you there alone with Prosecutor Sneddon?
No.
Who else was there?
Steve Roble.
Okay. Was Sheriff Roble talking?
No.
Who first gave you the diagram?
Steve walked in with it.
Okay. So he walks in with it and hands it to you, right?
Yes.
And he asks you about the diagram, right?
Yes.
And you're saying that Prosecutor Sneddon said, don't tell us where people were sitting.
No, I was about to, but then he said, no, don't tell me. So I didn't say nothing. I just wanted to go over it by myself.
You wanted to go over the diagram just by yourself.
Oh, in my head.
In your head.
Yes.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong. You looked at this diagram. Everybody was silent, and you thought about it in your head, right?
Yes.
And then you gave it back to Prosecutor Sneddon, right?
Yes.
Never discussed anything about what's on the diagram, right?
Yes.
Never discussed it at all, right?
Yes.
Okay, now, in one of your police interviews, you were asked if you knew the difference between right and wrong, remember?
Yes.
And you said you learned the difference between right and wrong from your mom, right?
Yes.
And that was the truth, right?
Yes.
Okay, your mom told you never to lie, right?
Yes.
Did she tell you that before the J.C. Penney deposition?
She told us that our whole life.
Whole life.
Yes.
Okay, you actually told the police that you think lying is a sin, right?
Yes, I think so.
Do you remember if you did that?
Not really.
Okay, would it refresh your recollection if I show you the transcript?
Sure.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Actually, he testified that, yes, he told the police that.
Oh, I thought I didn't.
Then you went on to his memory. So, denied.
Okay.
Move along.
All right. You know you're not supposed to lie under oath, right?
Yes.
Okay. Has anyone discussed that with you before?
My whole family.
Okay.
The DA.
They have all told you, don't ever lie under oath, right?
Yes. They just told me to tell the truth.
Okay. Now, you talked about driving golf carts at Neverland, right?
Yes.
And you and your brothers used to do that during your visits to Neverland, right?
Yes.
Let's take our break, counsel.
Yes, Your Honor.